Next on Worcester News Tonight, Worcester's first medical cannabis dispensary opens in the city. We'll get a look inside. Plus, the Worcester Police and Fire Departments face off in a battle, but it's all for a good cause. But first, we begin in Worcester, where a Shrewsbury man has been arrested in connection with the death of Marlene Blue. Good evening, I'm Anna Botari. Blue was found face down in the water at Lake Quinsigamond on Saturday. According to police, 33-year-old Joseph Dalrymple is charged with strangulation or suffocation. The cause of Blue's death is still pending a ruling from the medical examiner's office. Dalrymple will be arraigned in Worcester District Court. An online post accuses a Worcester correctional officer of having a tattoo which represents a Nazi salute. The Worcester County Jail and House of Corrections says it's all a misunderstanding. According to the Worcester County Jail and House of Corrections, someone who was there Wednesday took a photo of the officer's tattoo, which is the number 88. Some recognize this as a Nazi salute. However, Superintendent of the facility, David Tuttle, says the officer's tattoo represents his college football number he was wearing while playing for Norwich University.
Once you squeeze the tube, you can't put it back in. It's very hard to put the toothpaste back in, and people can't make assumptions. And when you meet somebody and you want to, geez, what's that tattoo mean? Maybe you should ask them. This guy now made an assumption about another human being and called him a Nazi and put his life in danger because of the threats that we're getting, when in fact he's a good kid, he's a hard worker, he's a nice guy, and he was a football player, number 88. He's not a Nazi.
The House of Corrections shut down their Facebook page due to threats they say they were receiving. They're expected to put it back up within the next couple of days. Worcester's first medical cannabis dispensary has its grand opening in the city tonight. Our Gretchen LaRosa was there and got a look inside the new facility.
The City of Worcester's first licensed medical marijuana dispensary opens their doors for business Thursday, a project they say has been 5 years in the making.
Again, people will continue to get more comfortable, and now that there's a store, they have the ability to interact with our dispensary agents and with a medical advisor that they will continue to grow.
Part of their business slogan puts an emphasis on attention to detail. They say they hope the clean, modern aesthetic and the concept of the dispensary will help the community welcome their business. CEO of Good Chemistry, Matthew Huron, says there are more than 50,000 registered medical marijuana users in the state, and the number increases on average by 2,000 patients each month.
It could be really good for chronic pain, wasting syndromes, a variety of different ailments, but for a lot of folks it's going to be new. And so we try to do our best here at Good Chemistry to help educate.
City and state officials, including President and CEO of Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce, Tim Murray, were at the grand opening. He says, as the second largest city in Massachusetts, Worcester will likely see a big demand for the product.
And we've seen a very rigorous process that involves the police, neighborhood engagement, some financial benefit for the city. For a new industry, and we want to make sure it's done right in a responsible way, and we've seen a number of operators come forward that are looking to go the extra mile to make sure that they're good neighbors and running good businesses.
Now, as this is not a walk-in facility, patients are required to show their marijuana registration certification card before being buzzed into the facility. Upon entry, they are offered one of these guides which explain what patients should look for or avoid for desired effects. Gretchen LaRosa, Worcester News Tonight.
The Worcester Police and Fire Departments battling it out in some friendly competition Thursday. This is the second year of the Battle of the Badges blood drive at the DCU Center. The department's goals were to recruit as many blood donors as possible. Our Rosalind Flaherty was there and has more.
The Worcester Police and Fire Departments are battling it out to see who can get the most people to donate blood.
It goes to show how community-oriented both departments are.
The Red Cross, they come out to all our fires. This is a great way to give back to the Red Cross, and just a good team effort.
The Battle of the Badges comes as the American Red Cross faces an emergency blood shortage. They say blood products are being distributed to hospitals faster than donations are coming in.
In the summer months, it's just really hard. People aren't necessarily thinking about donating blood. They're thinking about the beach or who's going to pick up the kids from camp. There's a million other things going through in your mind. but unfortunately hospital patients don't get to choose when they need that blood.
Police Chief Stephen Sargent says first responders see the need up close every day.
If somebody is injured on the scene, and then the fact that we're getting the blood right to them is what saves their lives.
The Worcester Railers Hockey Club will be donating $1,500 to the charity of the winner's choice.
It's another great community event that we're proud to be involved with. There's always a really big need for blood.
And although police and fire like the healthy competition, they say the real winners are the Red Cross and the community.
I hope fire wins, but the community actually benefits the most.
Look at the response from both fire and police.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
Worcester police are gearing up to ride in the PanMass Challenge this weekend. The PMC raises more than any other athletic event in the country, with thousands of riders and volunteers fundraising for Dana-Farber. Our Chandler Walsh has the story.
Worcester police officer Jonathan Dage is a 3-time cancer survivor. JD was diagnosed with testicular cancer in 2013, and after surgery and becoming cancer-free, it came back.
I found 6 tumors in my chest and lungs, so the testicular cancer had spread throughout the body. Went back for a follow-up. They found a tumor in the brain.
JD has had part of his lungs removed and multiple surgeries and rounds of chemo and radiation. Once in remission, he started a PanMass challenge team with fellow Worcester officers called Thin Blue Ride.
Started riding a bike during the lung surgeries, well, right before it actually. I figured it was better than running, so kind of fell in love with it from there.
Coming up on 4 years in remission this weekend, JD and his team are biking in the PMC for the 4th year. The officers ride for JD and their own families.
His story is definitely inspirational. I wanted to do whatever I could to help him out.
I've had people in my family die from cancer, so it's personal and friendship causes.
7 members of Thin Blue Ride will bike just under 200 miles from Sturbridge to Provincetown, raising money for cancer. Their motivation comes from each other and fellow riders.
Riding up a hill on day 1 of the PanMass, feeling bad for myself, and a guy with one leg is riding up past me. So I wait till we get to the top and we start a conversation, and he only has one lung as well.
The team says being surrounded by thousands of people in support of the same cause is an incredible feeling.
People will be there with their kids and signs saying, because of you, he's alive. It's an awesome experience.
Thousands of other riders and volunteers will also participate in the PanMass Challenge this weekend. This is the PMC's 39th year. Some riders we spoke with in Central Mass say all families are touched by cancer in some way. They're participating with a purpose.
Many friends, family, relatives, but probably the most impactful was I lost my mom to lung cancer.
I've never had the opportunity to volunteer in years past, so I really wanted to this year.
Once in my 20s and again 10 years later in my 30s, 2 different cancers, Dana-Farber was able to step in, and with the research that they do, able to get a hold of the disease and treat it and ultimately cure me.
The PanMass Challenge is this weekend with multiple different routes riders can take. The event's fundraising goal this year is $52 million. The question still remains, will the Pawtucket Red Sox stay in Rhode Island or move to a ballpark here in Worcester? According to the Telegram and Gazette sports writer Bill Ballou, Worcester's plan to bring the Paw Sox to the city may be unveiled as early as 2 weeks from now. The City Council is scheduled to meet on August 21st, and any proposal would require their approval. Today, voters in Charlton may decide whether or not to ban recreational marijuana businesses in their town. But it's more complicated than that. Alicia Palumbo is in Charlton to explain.
I think we're in uncharted territory a bit.
Charlton residents will get to vote on the November ballot whether to ban recreational marijuana businesses in town, thanks to a general bylaw petition passed at a special town meeting Wednesday night. But a vote to rescind the town's marijuana zoning bylaw failed. Town Administrator Robin Craver says if the ballot measure passes, the 2 bylaws would conflict, and the Attorney General's office would likely get involved.
The AG may come back and say you need to do a zoning bylaw to effectuate this whole piece, because you have a bylaw that regulates already, plus you have businesses already here.
One of those businesses, Valley Green Grow of North Andover, plans to build an 800,000 to 1.5 million square foot greenhouse for cannabis research, as well as medical and recreational cultivation on the site of Charlton Orchards.
No matter what we do to appease the opposition, they won't fight fair.
Charlton Orchards owner Nathan Benjamin says there has been a campaign of misinformation spread throughout town about the planned facility. We found neighbors had mixed reaction to it.
My land abuts theirs, and I don't know if it's going to look like a spaceship landed up there at night with all the lights.
I think it's great. I think it's wonderful, but I don't think it needs to be so big.
Craver says both facilities are grandfathered in where zoning is concerned, so even if the ballot measure banning recreational marijuana passes and the AG's office has the town amend the zoning, the facilities can still operate.
Both of them would just choose to do medical marijuana and not do the recreational.
I spoke with the attorney for Valley Green Grow late this afternoon. He said recreational marijuana was already approved by the people here in town, by the Board of Selectmen, and by the town administrator. And he said, quote, because we already have a signed agreement with the community, we believe that agreement is binding. In Charlton, Alicia Palumbo, Worcester News Tonight.
A near catastrophe at Worcester Academy after a kitten was found meowing behind the grill of a car. Worcester Academy shared these pictures of the cat, who managed to crawl into the space between the bumper, hood, and engine. The owner tried to free the animal from the car, but was unable. Thankfully, mechanics of BMW of Shrewsbury were able to dismantle the car to retrieve the cat. Oski, as the Worcester Academy staff named him, was brought to the Worcester Animal Rescue League, where he will be put up for adoption.